Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and loving life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then loving life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world. And my gosh, have I got an extraordinary story for you. Let me just give you a bit of the background. But before I do, a special shout out to the Loving Life family. Right, now I have just posted a video exclusively on Loving Life TV for you to look at after we wrap up this important live stream with Flippie, Elsabe and Marius. This video is a world exclusive with breaking news that confirm that Dr. Fauci, who I call Dr. Death, is personally responsible for the creation of the virus through gain of function. This virus that was released presumably by accident by the laboratory in Wuhan. Well, I hope you've got my sound happening now, guys. I had a couple of seconds there without sound. If you can hear my voice, please just put 1 in the side chat just so that I know the sound's coming through properly now. Okay, let's continue. The video that I've just posted on lovinglifetv.com runs for over an hour because it includes several crucial videos that demonstrate how Dr. Fauci was personally implicated in the cover-up and lied openly to cover his own backside. Thanks, Michael. At least I know you can hear me now. Expect Dr. Fauci and others to be arrested by this weekend. Yeah, I said expect Dr. Fauci and others to be arrested by this weekend. So go and have a look at that video on lovinglifetv.com, and if you have not been to that platform before, please, if one of the moderators can just put in the full website address for that platform. If you haven't been there before, don't be a guest, register. Believe me, it'll be worth the time registering. Okay, please remember to subscribe to Loving Life on YouTube as well. And if you have any questions for my guests tonight, please just put them in the side chat. Tonight I'm talking to Elsabe Joan, Marius Kutzer, together with the victims in the scandal. Flippie van Dyk, a farmer who resides in Scottburgh, south of Durban in KwaZulu Natal. To give you some background, here is a video of Flippie explaining how the local African community have destroyed his ability to build his retirement dream, a profitable farm, while the police are as bad, if not worse, than the criminals who are destroying his life. Let me play that video for you, and then we will get our guests on. Here we go.
Okay, this is a place where we try a living. If you look there on the horizon, you will see a community living there. It's KwaZulu or Vulindlela. And those people want to get us off our lands. If you look right out to the opposite of this, there's a farm. It is abandoned because of the conduct of these people that stay on the ridge there. And further on, you can see there's some farming going on. The people that are living there wants to get us off the lands. Now, currently what you see here around us is veld. This was beautiful rose geranium lands that these people chased their cattle in 30, 40, a herd of 30 or 40, let them maul the lands and entangle the drip irrigation to such an extent that it is impossible to keep on farming. If you look further away there, you will see the drip lines. I'm trying to roll them up to recover them before they're going to set my field to fire, which they do every year. We started doing, instead of the rose geranium, we started doing macadamia nuts, and you can see there are some bigger trees and some smaller trees, and that is basically because these people come down and they break the trees. You can see here right in front of me, there's one example. A little bit further on, there's another example. There's a tree that was broken off down it. You can see there's another tree next to it broken down completely. I'll go closer and show you guys what is going on here. Look there, there's this tree. It had a little macadamia nut harvest on it. It was broken down. Let's go to the next one here. This one was broken down. The one next to it is broken down. You can see it is impossible here to establish a macadamia orchard. They break them down. Look here, they do it with their bare hands. Here's another tree that was supposed to be bearing a tree. There,
okay, I think you've seen enough.
We planted new trees
you
inside.
You can see what the local African community are doing to this poor guy. It's quite extraordinary. But what you've seen is only the tip of the iceberg. It is absolutely shocking what this man has been put through. And of course the police and the justice system are doing absolutely nothing to rectify the situation. I'm going to get Elsabe join on first, and she's got Marius Kutzer with her. So let me call them up first, and we'll get Flippie on after that. Hi, Elsabe. Oh, let's try again. I think she just probably pressed the wrong button there. Hi, Elsabe.
Hello.
Hi, Marius.
Hi, Scott.
Here we
There
are.
you guys are. Okay, good stuff. Now let me just get Flippie on. I won't be a second, okay?
Wel, daar sien ons in die prentjie daarbo.
Fame at last. Oh, hang on.
No, I was famous 15 years ago already.
Flippie is trying to contact me, and I told him not to.
Aye.
Okay, I'll call him now. Here we go.
You can just phone him.
That's okay.
Okay. Here we know. We'll get him in now. Okay. Here he comes.
Ze is op die leg.
Here
So
he is.
he's
Hi, Flippy.
Right.
There you are.
I think you know Elsabe and
you.
Marius.
Ugly as always.
All right. Now, just to get things in context, guys, I just let you know I showed a short piece of your video, Flippy, where you were walking around your macadamia nut orchard, showing how the trees had been broken and stuff like that. So we've got a little bit of background to what the community are doing to your farm. Now, we spoke to you last about, I think it was about 8 months ago, regarding what was going on. And this was after you went through a horrendous situation. What I might do is I might get Elsabe to just outline what you've gone through since you took possession of the farm that you bought as your retirement place to go. Elsabe, would you like to just talk to what Flippy has gone through?
Yes, Flippy first tried to farm with rose geraniums. For the Afrikaans people, is net malvas, and they extract the essential oils out of the rose geraniums, and it's used for pharmaceutical purposes. Just for the interest, I don't know if people know, but the lintagon you buy when you have flu is made from geraniums. So that's the active ingredient in it. He showed how the cattle trampled his fields and the irrigation. He stopped now with the geraniums and started with the macadamias. He also has coffee, which he tried to harvest. Yeah. Since he came on
just
the top,
talking about the cattle, those cattle are deliberately driven into his fields to destroy his crops by the local community. Is that correct?
yeah, they chase them in such a manner that they come down in a stampede. At one stage, the cattle almost trampled his wife, and she ran away to get protection. And while she was running, she was shooting over her shoulder to try to scare off the cattle not to trample her, and she shot 2 of the cattle dead. So they wanted to charge her with for those cattle, but yeah,
Malicious damage to property.
but at the end they left the case. But yeah, it's hard there. The people don't want Flippy there. In the court case, it came out very clear. They regard his homestead, the small fence around his house and outbuildings. They regard that as his property. And the rest of his farm is common land. They told the court he is farming on their grazing land. He's plowing where their cattle must graze. And that's why they trample it. They break down his gates in order to chase the cattle into his lands. Because it's adjacent land. Then they break down the gates, chase the cattle in, and they don't regard it as his land.
Now,
that is the main problem. They are supported.
Yeah.
They are supported by the prosecutor. They are supported by the police. It's as if the prosecutor and the police don't understand what's going on. But last week we've been in court the whole week, and we made very good progress.
Can we get to that in a second? I don't want to jump ahead
Okay.
too far. No, I just want to get back to Flippy. Flippy, you mentioned that a neighbouring farmer actually left his farm because he had been harassed so much. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, he left before I bought. After he left, he leased the land to some of the Indian farmers here, and they exactly the same that I with the rose geranium. They chased cattle into the lands and then destroyed the crop. How they do it. Last Saturday, after the court case, we came back, and on Saturday we went to work in the macadamias to try and just cut off all the trees and stuff that they destroyed. They drove the cattle in at the bottom of the farm. Normally the cattle comes from the front, but this time there's a gate on my western border, and they just broke that gate down and drove the cattle into. They tried to drive them into the coffee, but that is well protected now. But we chased them out twice on a Saturday and 4 times on Sunday. On Sunday, I managed to barricade that gate to such an extent they can't drive them in again. But on Sunday, when I chased them, on occasions, when I drove the cattle back, I saw that there were dogs, and I couldn't understand why there were dogs. And they came in for the 4th time, and I drove them back again. And then they were driving another bunch of cattle towards me. And the dogs were chasing that cattle. So that is how they do it. They let the dogs chase the cattle, and the cattle goes into an absolute stampede.
Right. Okay. Now, Marius, I just want to address you. You're involved with Patriots for Minorities as well as Elsabe, aren't you? What's your position there?
Yeah. We are 3 directors. I'm one of the directors. My portfolio is legal this cases, and Elsabe is my assistant. She's got another portfolio, but she's also assisting me with the legal work. And believe me, there are too much to handle, actually.
Right.
And then you get guys like Flippie, who's got so many problems that he uses up all the available time we have.
But you know, I
and
find
if you look at Flippie, you will see the difficulty with his cases. He's got more than one case. He looks like a guilty man. So
you know what? I have to say this.
Twice as hard to get him acquitted.
Yeah, Marius, I have to say this that Flippie is. You can see he's an incredible man. I mean, the amount of crap the justice system in KwaZulu Natal have put him through is quite extraordinary. I mean, I admire Flippie. I think he deserves a medal for the way he's handling this. I think most other people would have just, disappeared. They would have just. I mean, the fortitude of this guy is extraordinary. But yeah, please go ahead, Maurice.
Well, Scott, either that, disappear, or assault someone and hurt someone. You know.
Well, that's what
a lot of people will have retaliated with aggression.
Yeah.
Lots of aggression.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the assault side, because just so people know. Perhaps you can tell us the full story here, Marius, but Flippie one afternoon was just at home and he had an unwanted group of police visit him. Can you tell us what happened that day?
Yeah, first of all, that's a complete other matter. It's nothing to do with this matter.
But it just gives an idea of what's happening.
Yeah, what happened there is, he was sitting there minding his own business, probably taking a lekker dop, a shot or what. These farmers, when they are bored. Well, his dog what happened, his dog started barking, and then he saw a lot of policemen at the gate, the entrance to his property, and then the gate was broken open by the police, and they entered. How many vehicles? I'm not sure how many vehicles, but
8, I think.
8 vehicles, about
8
20
police vehicles. Wow.
8 police vehicles and about 20 policemen. Now, you know, when about 20 policemen arrive on the scene, you would associate it with an act of terrorism or a bank robbery in progress, a shootout,
Yeah.
or something like that. To arrest an elderly person like Flippie, who is alone on his farm with so many people, it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling. They were armed to the teeth, dressed dressed in riot gear, outfitted in riot gear.
Assault weapons.
Automatic assault weapons. Those that America wants to ban in the United States. And they stormed his house. Unfortunately, his dogs got in the way, and they threw a couple of, what is that grenade? Flash or shock grenades at them. And that, of course, scared them off. One of the dogs was injured.
2 are dead.
2 are dead.
Because of that.
Afterwards, yeah.
They had
burst eardrums. Because of that flash grenade.
And their balance gave in there to put them asleep.
So not of neglect or poor feeding.
No, because of those bombs. They had damage.
That flash grenade, okay. And then Flippie was on the stoop on the veranda when this started to happen, and he moved inside the house. The police broke down the door and stormed Flippie and started to assault him with fists, kicked him with the shoes,
hit him with the barrels.
Hit him with the barrel of the gun and the butt of the guns, and they really went to town with this assault on him.
He would have died.
They picked him up several times just to knock him down again.
He would have died if his friend Fani didn't come to his rescue. They were in the middle of the assault when his friend came to help him. And Flippie just heard them saying, here comes a white man. And they, as fast as they arrived, they got into their vehicles and they left. I spoke to Fani last week, and he told me when he stopped at the gate, he saw all those policemen, and he saw all the vehicles, and he wasn't armed. He had nothing to protect Flippie or himself. And he was walking up that hill to the house, and he's told me all the way he walked up, he just prayed for God to give him the strength so that he can protect Flippie. Yes, but if he hadn't arrived, Flippie wouldn't have been here with us tonight. You know, Scott, he would have been dead, and he would be just another farm attack. And nobody would have known that it was done by police.
Yeah.
Which makes you wonder how many farm attacks are indeed done by police, but because nobody survived it to tell what happened, we don't know it's the police that's doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's why the police don't go and investigate, because they're complicit. Now, okay, now we're just talking about one particular event. There have been others. I'm not going to go into them because I just find what they've done to Flippie to be quite disgusting, to be quite honest. And I'm talking about the police and the judicial system. I want to now get on to the current case that we're talking about here. Okay, so tell us about the arrest and the charges that have been laid against Flippie.
In the current case?
In the current case, yes.
Okay.
This day, when they assaulted him, they arrested him for this case that's pending. The warrant says malicious damage to property, which is not a Schedule 1 offence and for which you can't arrest somebody. But the charges against him now is not malicious damage to property. And if you look at the warrant they use, it's to totally another case number. So they take another case warrant and another charge which has nothing to do with this, and they arrested him. And that is the present matter when the 20 policemen came to attack him. Yeah.
Now, those charges are for dog bites and for assault.
Dog bites and assault. And crimen injuria.
Wasn't there a firearm involved as well?
No.
You know, Scott, what happens in the cases that the cases I've been involved, this type of cases over the past 4 years.
Yeah.
The black people involved in the legal system, prosecutors, the police, etc. There's always two cliche charges. I want to call it cliche charges. Doesn't matter what happened, doesn't matter how it happened, doesn't matter where it happened. On the charge sheet will always be added two charges. One, for crimen injuria, for the accused being accused of using the K word, the dreaded K word in South Africa. So that would be a crimen injuria charge. And the other one will be for pointing of a firearm to the complainant. So the complainant or complainants will always accuse the white accused that A, he used the K word towards them, and 2, he pointed a firearm at them, even if the person has no firearm and are not even licensed to own a firearm. And with the K word, even if there was no racism, no to and fro, and no K word used, they will nevertheless put in those charges. That is trumped up charges, always involving the K word, always involving pointing of a firearm. We have seen it in the Kulini case. We have seen it in the coffin assault case in Middelburg. We have seen it now in the current case, Patriots. And we've also now seen it or heard about it in the case at, what's the latest thing that they arrested those farmers, white farmers?
It's Patriots.
It's Patriots.
Yeah.
Okay.
The 4 farmers, yeah. Now, can I just say, hang on, before you do, Elsabe, they use it like a get out of jail free card, don't they? I mean, you know, it's like you throw those in, and then all the mainstream media in South Africa talk about is crimen injuria. They don't talk about the actual action. They then use that as the case against that white victim. Yeah, please go ahead, Elsabe.
And the accused's reputation is immediately tainted when the charge of crimen injuria for using the K word is added to the charge sheet, because he is now being smeared as a racist.
And it's
this racist is now standing trial. And that's how the media will report it.
Exactly, and it's quite okay for the guys who are committing the crimes to scream obscenities at the white victim, like Amabula and stuff like that, which I think Amabula means, scum of the earth or something. It's a very nasty name that's used by, I'm not sure, I know Amabula means white man, but there's a variation of that which has got a very nasty implication. But it's quite okay for them to use that word against white people. But if you use the K word, it's crimen injuria, just like that. That to me is completely racist. Well,
Scotty, the problem is, or this whole elephant in the room is that even if you did not use the K word, they will nevertheless accuse
I get it.
Falsely accuse you of using it.
I get it. Sorry, Elsabe, back to you.
it's very difficult to defend the K word, because if you have 3 black state witnesses, all three saying that Flippy used that word, it's very difficult to defend the matter, to prove to the court that he doesn't use that word.
Especially if you've got a prosecutor who is a racist.
Yeah, especially if what happened in this latest case of the incident at Patriots that is still going on there. The same prosecutor that prosecuted in the coffin case, Robert Molokwane, was prosecuting there. And when I heard that, I said to Elsabe, look, Robert is going to add the K word charge, the criminal and he's also probably going to add the pointing of a firearm at the person without good cause. And that's exactly what happened in the coffin assault case. Added those 2 charges, and in the end, the coffin assault duo were found not guilty. They were acquitted on those charges, but it was nevertheless added, and it was hanging around their necks throughout the trial. The same happened in the Colini case, and the same is happening now in the Patriots case. And the same is happened in Flippy's case.
We have to proceed. Sorry.
That's okay. All right, so let's go back to these charges against Flippy of dog bite and assault. Tell us what the situation is regarding those. What is the argument by those who've lodged the charges against Flippy?
Okay, the case for the state is totally different for the case for the defense. You can't believe it was the same scene. You know, these guys testified they were walking on a public road, minding their own business, and Flippy watched them through binoculars, and he came down with the dogs, and he told the dogs to attack. He used words like eat. He told the dogs to eat so they can eat the black people. It's very dramatic, the evidence in court.
What do they call it in Zulu? Ngita.
No, he talked to his dogs in Afrikaans.
Oh.
They say the Afrikaans words. But Flippy's version, and his wife was luckily with him, is totally different. These people passed his house on his farm, on his private land. It's not a public road. They walk underneath his house. He went down to close the gate. When he came to the gate, he saw that the gate to his pump is open. And he was scared that those people may cause some damage to his pump. So he went to the pump to close the gate and see if the pump was fine. When he went to the pump, he saw they were busy breaking down the next gate down the road. So we went to tell them, don't break down my gate. It's the very same gate where they chase in the cattle, you know. So they were breaking down that gate.
Probably to chase in the cattle later on.
But in any case, he confronted him and said, don't break down my gate. But in the meantime, one guy was hiding along the road.
Behind a bush.
It looks like an ambush. Looks like an ambush, you know, the guys that were dragging him towards the gate with the noise and the breaking down of the gate. He went for them, and he didn't notice the guy that was sitting behind. That guy had a panga. So that guy came out and hit him with the panga. But at that stage, his wife was approaching with the dogs, and when the dogs saw he is hit with the panga, they came to protect him. But they only held this guy. They didn't bite him. They just held him. Now, is it Vulcan? What is the youngest one? Vulcan. Weighs 90 kilos. It's a very, very heavy, big dog. So if he wants to kill this guy, he could have done it. But there was no biting. They just kept the guy from hitting Flippy. And then this guy started hitting the dogs with the panga. And that he shouldn't have done. So then they bit him. But they only put in their teeth. They didn't, not a skeer. They didn't tear him. It's just bite marks, you know, as they hold him.
Right.
not to bite, to hit him. So that was the attack. When he always speaks Zulu to all the people in the vicinity. But this guy with a panga spoke to him in English. And because he didn't speak Zulu like the community, he thought this guy couldn't speak Zulu. So he said, okay, you foreigners, because he supposed it must be a foreigner because he can't speak Zulu. Everybody in Natal can speak Zulu. So if you can't speak Zulu, you must be a foreigner. And he called him a Zimbabwean and a foreigner. And that guy took serious offense for those two swear words.
His poor feelings was so badly hurt by being called a foreigner.
Is this what he said in court, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah, he cried. They had to stop the court for him to come under control. So when we proceeded with the court case, the advocate asked him, don't you like Zimbabweans? And he said, no, they are good people. And he asked him, don't you like some foreigners? He said, no, he has nothing against foreigners.
Oops. Load shedding, guys. There you saw it in action. Flippy.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll just continue with you. I mean, look at the expressions on the faces there. Okay, we'll that was quite extraordinary, guys. That's load shedding for you. Okay, you can just see that, bang, electricity's gone. Now, Flippy, I'm going to continue with you because obviously they can't speak at the moment. Now, okay, so you've got a situation here where this guy is sort of acting as if he's, terribly emotionally distressed about the whole thing. What are your thoughts about what goes on during the court case? I mean, these people who are suddenly playing the victim while they're the ones who are actually creating the chaos on your farm. Share with us your thoughts when you're in court and you're hearing this going on.
Yes, the big thing, it's amazing that these guys, they use the incident and then they create lies around the incident. And it is amazing to listen in court to all the stories around this incident, which was not even close to the truth. It was a story made up to portray you as an evil being around this place, as a racist, somebody that hates all people and things like that. Actually, unbelievable to sit there. I just sat and I listened, and at the stage when the first guy testified, I just hoped that my advocate.
Hang on, I'll just get Elsabe back. Give me a second. Okay, there we go. Okay, yeah, so carry on, Flippy.
To cross-examine the state's witnesses to such an extent.
Hi, Elsabe, you've joined back, have you? What's going on here? Sorry, guys, I've never seen that before. I don't know what happened there, but I'm going to get Elsabe back on. Oh, come on. What's this computer doing? Okay. I don't know what happened there, but you saw my Skype just shut itself down. Let's get Elsabe back on, and then we'll get Flippy back on. Just try Flippy, and then we'll get Elsabe on. Here we go. Hi, Flippy.
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, good. Look,
I've spoken to Elsabe again just.
yeah, I'll just get Elsabe back on again. Okay. Yeah.
Fine.
Oh, we are having it all tonight. The whole 9 yards. I think the justice system in South Africa is behind this.
Hello.
Hi, you're back, Elsabe. What happened? Did you have a load shedding?
Africa. We have load shedding.
It's blackout time. It's blackout time. Oh, what do they call it in the United States? Brownout? Brownouts.
Brownouts. Yeah, well, it's a continual brownout in South Africa.
It is
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Now, would you prefer not to have your camera on? We can look at the handsome face of Flippy and just hear you in the background.
Yeah. Just let me figure out where.
Are you on a mobile phone now?
No.
Yeah, we're on a mobile phone, yes.
Yeah. Just click on the camera. I think that should actually make it come on.
Yeah, there you are.
There you go.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Okay.
Look like two ghosts.
Okay.
Well,
I'm going to put it off.
I can hear Marius's voice, but I can hardly see him.
Yeah.
So you guys going to stay incognito in the background, are you?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
All right. I understand. That's fine. Okay. So I was just talking to Flippy about his thoughts during the court case, and he was saying that the way these guys lie is quite extraordinary. Now, Elsabe, you were saying that the two stories were so far apart you would never think this is the same case. Would you like to continue along that line?
Yes, I mostly described what they were saying and what actually happened. His wife testified for him, and she was a good witness. So I believe the defense is more credible than the state witnesses. The problem when you start lying in court, it's very difficult to keep to the same story.
Yeah.
So there are many discrepancies in their testimony, and they talked about stuff that wasn't there and didn't happen. One guy, for instance, say he got into a boat and there was no boat. It's funny stories.
What has a boat got to do with anything? Because there's no
It's
river
next to the
nearby.
river.
There's a river running through the Flippy's farm.
Ah, okay.
So that's why they involved a boat there. But you see, the problem with lying is, if I can advise all lying witnesses, the best way to lie is to lie, firstly, consistently, and secondly, to speak as little as possible, only what is absolutely necessary, because the more you speak,
Yeah, the more you embellish.
yeah, the higher the risk that you are going to be caught out.
Right. So I take it through cross-examination, you guys tore these people apart, didn't you?
The advocate did, yes. I mostly took the notes, but Advocate van Dyk did a lot of cross-examination, and he did a very good job, yeah.
Okay,
As usual. We use him because he's so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, just for people who don't live in South Africa, explain to them how long the delays are and how chaotic it is in the court system in South Africa.
Yeah, Flippy's case was 25 days in court. And
Not continuously, but
no, we had a lot of postponements. During our previous conversation, I told you how many postponements we had. We were really desperate to finalize the matter. And last week, we were 4 days in court, and we had the court for ourselves. We finished 2 state witnesses and the 2 defense witnesses in that week. We finished with all the evidence.
Right. So has there been a determination yet by the magistrate, or is this still got to be done?
No, we have to argue on 14 July.
Right.
We're going to argue the matter, and I don't know if the magistrate will give a judgment immediately or will postpone it again, but the argument is on 14 July.
Yeah. Now one of the games that these people play is, you mentioned Zimbabweans. Now, what they'll do is they will say, oh, we don't understand English or Zulu, we only speak Zimbabwean, so we need an official interpreter. And then what will happen is the official interpreter doesn't pitch up, or one of the other witnesses doesn't pitch up, so the thing keeps on getting postponed and postponed and postponed and postponed, doesn't it?
It happened in Flippie's case. Not the foreign interpreter, but the magistrate wouldn't allow Flippie to testify or to proceed with the matter in English. The magistrate insisted that he has an Afrikaans interpreter the whole time. And sometimes the Afrikaans interpreter was not available, so the matter couldn't proceed. Yeah, it was one of the delays of the matter was the Afrikaans interpreter.
And the legal costs of all these postponements and wasted court days is just enormous. Because every time two of us have to fly down to Durban,
Stay
over there for the couple of days the matter was put down in court, and after the first or second day there was a problem, and then we had to fly back without making any progress. And that went on for months, since last year.
Wow. Yeah, the first court appearance was August last year.
Yeah, August last year. We're now close to 1 year.
And this is over something as trivial as an alleged assault and alleged dog bite.
Yeah.
But it's not about this incident. It's a much bigger picture.
Yeah, well, they're trying to damage his integrity. That's what they're trying to do. And then they can say, oh, this is the guy who, when he actually starts going.
They want to get him off the farm. What is bothering me the last couple of years is that the legal system is used as a method for harassment of minorities.
Yeah.
In this case, harassment of Flippie, part of a white minority. But the legal system is used and abused to harass people. Not to get to the point where you have justice served, but along in the process to drag it out and drag it out and drag it out, running up huge legal costs, legal bills. Some people are ruined by the legal bills, and then harass that person to such an extent that they are broken afterwards.
Now, do you think that the magistrates do this deliberately?
No, I think it's the police and the prosecuting authority.
And the interpreters.
Right.
They decide early on which side they are on, because they cannot be objective, they cannot be neutral. They take sides, and they always take the side against the person from the white minority.
I just want to explain to people who are watching here from overseas about the coffin case, because I think this is a classic example of what you're talking about. There you had two young men who did absolutely nothing wrong. They just apprehended someone who was stealing on their farm, and they were going to take him to the police station. But the story became so fabricated by the same public prosecutor who is now acting for the complainants against these 4 white farmers at Patriots. Same guy. They had fabricated evidence put before the magistrate by this public prosecutor. But if it hadn't been for AfriForum, who actually took up their case on appeal, these guys would have spent something like 15 or 16 years behind bars, because they didn't have the money to go and fight an appeal. Yeah, and this is because they are two young white guys. This is how racist the judicial system in South Africa is. Now, do you agree with me, Marius, or do you disagree with what I've just said?
Well, in the coffin assault case, we were personally involved, Scott, and a Patriot for Minorities were involved in that case.
We did appeal and the parole.
We did the parole, we did the
I
appeal.
apologize. I thought it was another organization. Yeah. But
But
what would have happened to these two young men if you hadn't done that?
Well, Scott, they were sentenced to 21 and 24 years.
24 and 27.
24 and 27 years,
But it was
respectively.
wasn't reduced to 15 and 18 years or something like that?
Yeah, to 5.
No, it was then some of the sentences would run concurrently, and they ended up in 14 and 17 years,
Yeah, that's close. Yeah.
respectively. And then on appeal, we got them off both to 5 years, and they're already out on parole because they already sit 2.5 years.
But the bottom line was that when you went to appeal, the judge who heard all the evidence said this is a load of copycock. He said this doesn't make any sense.
That was the highest court of appeal in Bloemfontein. What happened there is that for the 5 judges that heard the appeal in Bloemfontein said in the they cannot. These guys, 2 young men, shouldn't have been found guilty. They cannot found them guilty on the state's evidence. The reason why they got 5 years is because of their own testimony and especially the admissions that they made before the case started, the admissions they made after being arrested.
Okay, now what you've got actually happening in South Africa now is a completely conflicted judicial system, which has been played differently by 2 different groups of people. And I'm going to just use a broad brush here. I'm not saying this happens in every case, but in many cases you've got let's say it's a white victim and a black aggressor. The white victim gives an honest side of what actually happened. The black aggressor makes up a complete fabricated story to turn things around to make the white guy look bad. And it's clearly there's something here with the understanding of the importance of the judicial system is completely missing when it comes to people like those who Flippie is facing, who come onto his farm. They don't care what they say. You know, they have no idea that they should have a moral compass. They just make crap up just to get themselves off and just to make Flippie look bad.
That's correct, Scott, and that's why I said the legal system is used to harass members from the white minority.
And that's why your organization is so important, Patriots for Minorities, because you are helping people like Flippie who otherwise would be stuck in this terrible situation.
Yeah, Flippie, where would you be today without us?
Flippie?
Oh, I don't know where I would. I'll probably be in jail or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't even want to go there. What I want to say is that the South African government is getting to the white people through the police and the judicial system. This police assault on me was the 6th assault on me, in which 2 police, in 2 incidents, the police was involved. In other instances, the community was involved. I was lashed with shambox. And the same prosecutor that tended to this case, this current case, threw out the other cases that I made against the community guys when they assaulted me. There were eyewitnesses, there were hospital J88, a form that you get from the hospital that they fill in if you assaulted, 4 court. I had everything ready, and they just threw out the cases where I complained.
So
in the other cases, the police were exonerated, and they also punish you because you are left to pay a huge bill for the legal representation on your side. It is huge. In my first case, it was over 300,000 rand.
Oh, wow.
For something that never ever even happened. There was not even such an incident that I drove over a kid in my veld or on a public road through my veld or something like that. But it was a completely fabricated thing that they took me to court and I had to go and defend it.
Wow. Are you surprised, Marius?
Well, Scott, if you would have told me 20 years ago that this would be the situation in South Africa, I would have laughed and said, no, really, you are a prophet of doom. But yes, I've seen this happening. And the last couple of years, I've seen more and more of these kind of cases. And it's really disconcerting to a very high degree. It's really worrying.
Well, when you got Julius Malema being on the committee that chooses judges, and when a white person comes forward to be a judge, and Julius Malema is calling him a racist and stuff like that, during this actual discussion whether he should become a judge, I think that there's something really sick about the whole system. Please,
yeah, you're right there. I agree.
I just want to return to the court cases that are prompted up against white people. You know, in the coffin case, there was a witness by the name of Delton Sitole, and the Supreme Court of Appeal in Bloemfontein they said during the court proceedings they don't believe that guy was ever on the scene, and that was our impression as well.
Right from the start. Yeah, right from the start.
We believed that he never saw anything, but he was the witness to come and testify what happened to this other guy. But it was a fabricated witness. And in Flippie's case, we have the same thing. You know, these guys are talking about so many different things, or the evidence is so conflicting. And we believe the one guy was never there, but he must testify.
Now, does the magistrate understand what's going on? Is a magistrate, can I ask, is it a black person or a white person who's hearing this case?
It's neither black nor white.
It's Indian.
Okay, well that's a step in the right direction. So, okay.
Yeah, I don't want to anticipate the magistrate, but he was very fair during the trial.
Right.
And he really tried to push the case. It wasn't his fault that the matter didn't continue.
Yeah. It's the prosecutor's fault, yeah.
Yeah, well, I think the prosecutor's in on the whole thing. Now, let's talk about the state's evidence in this trial that is currently underway. Marius or Elsabe, do you want to talk to that?
Yeah, the state's evidence have finished. They have closed their case. And we, for the defendant, also have called our two witnesses, and they were cross-examined and finished. And we, at the Friday last week, we arrived at the point where both the state case was closed and the defense case was closed. Elsabe, do you want to say something about the state witnesses, the state's evidence?
Yeah, the first guy was a guy that attacked with a panga, and he was the first witness, and it's also the guy that was attacked. He's the guy that complains that he was called a foreigner, but when we asked him in cross-examination, so what's wrong with a foreigner, he told us he likes foreigners and he likes Zimbabweans. So the advocate told him, so how can it be crimen injuria? How can you be offended if you like the people? Then there's nothing to offend you.
What was his answer?
And he said he couldn't walk. After the dog bites were so severe, he wasn't able to walk. They had to carry him by his hands and feet up the hill. 2 guys took his feet and 2 guys took his hands, and they had to carry him up the hill.
Well, they should have thrown him into that river.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what they should have
That's
done.
I want
Seriously.
afterwards.
It's very funny that you say it, because the third state witness, and that's the guy we suspect was never there, and that's the guy that got into the boat. The advocate asked him, well, he got into the boat, out of the boat, back into the boat, out of the boat, but he got into the boat for the third time. And the advocate asked him, so why did you get into the boat for the third time? He said, to see how Flippy is going to throw this other guy into the river after he killed him.
Okay. Oh dear. I mean, look, it would be funny if it wasn't just so wrong. What is happening?
It's sad. It's very sad. You know, it's stressful for Flippy because, yeah, you know, it sounds as if he's this huge racist criminal.
The calculated murderer.
Calculated murderer. Yes, it's very bad, the evidence.
Now, Flippy, I have a question for you. Have you ever been charged or served any time or anything like that in your whole life? Have you ever been before a court before this in your life? Because, I mean, you're a pensioner, you're retired, so you've lived in South Africa for, let's say, 65 years plus, okay? During that time, have you ever faced a court on charges like this until this moment in time?
Never, ever. I've never been close to being arrested. Not even for traffic fines and stuff. I think I'm a law-abiding citizen, and always have been, and always have held the police in high regard, and our courts and our judicial system. I always held them in high regard, and now I despise them all. It is a sorry state that you change from being a law-abiding citizen, having respect, keeping these people in high esteem, to what I am now. I loathe them now.
Yeah. And you have good reason
and
to feel like
it's
that.
difficult for me. It is difficult for me because you have to count on them for wat is geregtigheid, for
Justice.
for justice and keeping us safe and things like that. And now you just know it is not there.
Yeah.
You have to creep around just so that they don't see you. Maybe that is what they want. I don't know.
Yeah, intimidation. Absolutely disgusting. Now, Elsabe, tell us about the defense's evidence at this trial.
Well, as I said, they were not aware of this ambush. Flippy just went to check on his pumps because the gate was open. Then he saw that they broke down the western gate of his farm. And when he confronted them not to break down the gate, this whole attack started. His wife heard his screams, and she rushed down with the dogs. The dog is actually his wife's dogs, and they're always around her. So she rushed down to see what's going on with Flippy, and the dogs came to his rescue. You know, he doesn't have a firearm because the police is still in possession of his firearm since the case 6 years ago. Wow. They haven't returned his firearm yet.
So Flippy is defenseless.
Well, yeah, he has one dog left.
Oh, jeez. Now, look, this case has been postponed to the 14th of July. Tell us what you anticipate will happen on that day.
Well, the prosecutor is going to give argument why Flippy must go to jail, and we are going to give argument why he must be acquitted. And then we will wait for the judgment of the magistrate, but I'll keep you informed.
Yeah. Okay. Now
it's a very funny day. If I might tell you another story. It's not the first time that me and Advocaat van Wyk will be in court on the 14th of July. We call it Bastille Day. You know, it's 14th of July is Bastille Day in France.
Right.
But on 14, when the coffin case started, those guys didn't get bail. They lost their bail case in December 2016, and they was imprisoned. So we got instructions in May, and I started a second bail application before the same magistrate that refused their bail. So on the 14th of July 2017, me and Johan van Wyk, this very same Johan van Wyk, went to Middelburg to do the bail application for the coffin two.
Right.
And they were released on bail, but me and Johan were locked up in the police cells until 7:30 that evening.
What?
Because of the ANC and EFF.
They wanted to attack us, and they locked us up for our own protection.
What?
Then I received this phone call from Middelburg from Johan van Wyk, the advocate. And he said, "Hello, Marius. Listen, I don't know what went wrong with our legal system today. The two accused are free on bail, out on bail, but the legal team has been locked up in a police cell."
And when this matter, and when Flippie's matter was postponed again to 14 July, I told Johan in court, I don't hope they will lock us up on Bastille Day again.
Yeah, but you know the tragedy, I mean really seriously, the tragedy here is that if the shoe had been on the other foot, if this had been two African lawyers who had been locked up in a cell for their own safety, and there'd been a bunch of, let's say, white farmers outside threatening them, this would have been world news. This is what they would have, the SATV, Enka, News 24, this would be news for weeks, confirming how racist the
correct, yeah.
But because it's the
But
other
that
way
was just a
around,
funny.
they
It was
don't
just a
even touch
funny
it.
story.
No, but it's true. It's very sad that you've got this complete bias when it comes to the way things are reported, and it's not just in South Africa; it's around the world.
What amazed me that day, they don't act against these people that protest inside court. They try to attack us inside court.
God.
We haven't even went out of the doors of the court. In the court, there's a stairs going down into the cells. We couldn't get to the exits of the court. We went down in the cells
Wow.
for our.
Your own
And
safety.
the police did nothing to stop these people entering the court, attacking us. Their solution is lock up the lawyers, not stop the protesters, lock up the lawyers. Talking about protesters, you know, last week when it was Flippie's case, the court was packed with EFF supporters.
Oh, you're joking.
Now, in South Africa, we have COVID regulations.
Yeah.
We have to keep a safe distance.
Social distance.
They mark the seats in court, you know, to keep them open.
Yeah.
You can only. They packed that court, every seat, and I told the
Not every seat, even in between.
yeah,
To the brim.
to the brim, not as if there's any regulations.
And
And I told the policeman in the court, please remove some of these people. You know, we're entering the third wave of COVID.
yeah,
Johan is 70 years old. I'm 60 years old. We don't want to get COVID. We have to be in court to do this case. These people don't need to be here. And he said he can't move them. They attended the proceedings, they packed the court, and they didn't keep their social distance. Some of them didn't even have masks on.
yeah. Look,
I just want to add that
go ahead, Marius.
Elsabe is 60, Johan van Wyk is 70, and I'm the young bloke here in this legal team. I'm only 45.
Right. Okay. You're the youngster. Well, guess what?
I'm the
Scott?
young here.
I just want to say one thing. Today is the anniversary of my assault, and the 14th Yeah. Today is
Which assault?
today a
Flippy?
year ago. To the day, yeah.
Now, Flippy, which assault was this? Because you've
The
had
20
several.
policemen. The 20
Oh, the
policemen.
20 policemen. Oh, okay,
The
right.
assault of the police.
Because there have been so many, I'm not
That-
sure
that-
which one it is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Flippy
Yeah,
has
that
got,
happened. That's
he's got
exactly
that kind
a
of
year ago.
faith.
Okay, now look, this brings us to a very important point because, look, I as I said at the very start of this live stream, I think Flippy's fortitude and his strength and his ability to laugh off clear injustice in the judicial system in South Africa and just pretend that, life goes on. I just think you're an extraordinary strong man, but how has this impacted you personally and mentally, Flippy? I mean, you might smile outwardly, but you must be seething inside about what's going on.
Yeah. No, that you describe it quite correctly. I can't really put it better. But for all this stuff that happens here, I'm alone on the farm. My wife stays away. She only comes here weekends. Where in a year ago she drove in and out. To go and open the gates in the morning for her to go, and when she comes back, and in winter it's dark, or then when she comes back, it's just too dangerous. Now she stays closer where she works, and she comes in weekends. Just one of the results, and the other thing is, I'm scared of police, if I can put it that way. But also, I'm angry at them at the same time. The other day, when we were in court, they heard a cash in transit case, and the policemen were dressed exactly the same as they were dressed when they assaulted me, and I really got heart beatings. I can't actually describe to one how one feels. One tries to live by it and not grapple too much in it or go back to it, because I don't think it's good for your being. But yeah, it is a sorry state of affairs. I can't say it's anything else. It is sometimes I just wish I was at another place. It is difficult to think that I have to live under these conditions till the day I die, because I can't see them change. And old as we are, we can't go to other places like my kids have. My kids are living in Australia, USA, and England, and there's still one in the Cape, which I don't know when they will move, but I think they will. And leave us here to become old on our own. That is what is sad about the whole situation, is that our kids and our grandkids, and they grow up in other places in the world, and they don't come back. They don't want to come back.
Now, look,
Two of my kids worked with me on the farm, and they left after the first assault. That's why the one is in the USA and the other one is in England. They don't want to come.
Yeah, no, I get it. That must be heartbreaking for you. You know, it's extraordinary, the duplicity of the mainstream media. They have got so much to answer for. And I want to bring in something totally unrelated and then bring it back to what we're talking about here. This whole COVID situation. I've just put up a video on lovinglifetv.com. You won't see it on YouTube because they'll give it a community strike and they'll take it down in a second. We have our own platform where we can actually report without being censored. It's now clear that despite the mainstream media singing the song of Dr. Fauci, that this was never originating, or the COVID-19 never originated in a laboratory, it now appears more so that it did. And Dr. Fauci all the time knew that this was a high probability. And he's been the master in covering up and lying about the situation. And I've put a video together on lovinglifetv.com that I'd encourage people to go and listen to, because the evidence is overwhelming that this COVID-19 that we're all victims of because of lockdowns, masks, vaccines they're trying to force on us and all this sort of stuff, started through funding by Dr. Fauci of the gain of function work that they did on a harmless virus and created a dangerous virus that's now impacting the world. And all the evidence is there in this video that's on lovinglifetv.com. You can't miss it. Just go and have a look at the scrolling banner at the top, and you'll see for yourself the evidence. It's overwhelming. This is how sick the media are. And it brings me to your case now. You think of George Floyd. Okay, George Floyd, okay, they had a knee on his neck for a few seconds, or it was a few minutes, I think. He couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. That became a global movement for Black Lives Matter. And the media played it up like you wouldn't believe. Now, that fails into basically insignificance when you consider what Flippie has gone through. 20 police coming into his home, attacking him. They would have murdered him if someone hadn't disturbed them while they were doing this. And as Elsabe says, you wonder how many other farm murders that happen in South Africa are not actually done by the police because there are no witnesses. Now, this is happening in South Africa. There's overwhelming evidence it's happening. This is far worse than what happened to George Floyd when you consider how racist and how targeted the attacks are against white farmers in South Africa, the torturing they put some of these people through, and yet you will never read about this in any of the mainstream media, not only overseas but here in South Africa. And it just shows how completely crap, how completely fake, how completely distorted what you see on the news today in the mainstream media is. And I just needed to get that off my chest because I think it's absolutely disgusting. Now, Elsabe, you've got to know Flippie really well. Can you tell me about Flippie's state of mind as far as you're concerned?
Yeah, well, as you said, Flippie is a strong person. But, you know, he was so severely injured. He had to undergo a brain operation after the attack, and he was in ICU.
This is after the attack by the 20 police.
Yes.
Yeah, last year, the 2nd of June last year.
And can I just add, Elsabe, that those 20 police have been identified. Has IPID done anything yet to actually bring them before the courts for what they did?
Not yet, but the matter is proceeding. They will, if they are not brought before court, we will prosecute. I promise you. We will prosecute them. We will ask for a nollie prosecute certificate, and we will do a civil prosecution.
Right. Now, please tell us about your views on Flippie's mental state, because, I mean, he must be suffering from PTSD. He must be. I mean, there's no way.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
He was severely injured. He was 10 days in ICU, and he had severe brain injuries. So if you look at him tonight, you will see that by times he loses concentration. That is because of this injury. He's still under treatment for the brain injuries, but it left a permanent damage to his brain. Flippie was a brilliant guy. He had several master's degrees, and he was an agricultural advisor on fertilizers. But if it looks as if he's slowing down, you must remember he's still suffering from severe brain injuries. Before the court case, we were a little bit worried how his concentration will be in his testimony, but he was perfect. He was very good. The prosecutor tried to provoke him so he can get cross in court and make a bad impression in court, and he even managed that. He was perfect.
So he slammed dunked his testimony.
Yeah. You know, he talked about his children that doesn't want to come there, but it's not only his children, his friends, his family. They are, everybody's scared to go to Flippie, you know, and they're very lonely on that farm.
Now, I just need to explain to people how Flippie landed up on this farm. Okay, now Flippie retired. He took out the money from his pension and he bought this farm, not realizing the shit that was already going on. And for example, with the neighbor farmer who's just left. So he walks into a situation. It's rather like what they call a hospital pass in rugby. You know, he thought he was going to have this farm and he'd be able to build this beautiful, productive little farm. This was his life dream. He put all his money into this, and it's been made a hell by a community that is just using the judicial system to screw him over. And you got the police prosecutors and the police who are implicitly involved in making his life hell. Am I correct in saying that, Elsabe?
Yes, you are absolutely. You know that we are claiming for the attack against the police. We have a civil claim where they have to pay up for these injuries, and brain injuries is normally quite a high amount. We have the reports from the doctors regarding his injuries, and the legal bill will also be for the account of the police. So yeah, it's payback time for them soon if the civil matter is going on to trial.
But how are you going to get 20 of these thugs in the same room at the same time? Because there'll always be an excuse, which means that they're going to be delaying.
We didn't sue them. We sued their minister, Bekitseli.
Ah. Oh, that's about time that happened. We call him Shladi Mutsening. Yeah, please carry on.
They're working for him. So obviously it must be his instructions. He must come and tell the court what's going on in his police force, and he must pay up.
Yeah. Sorry, Marius, you were going to say something?
No, I say that Bekitseli, the Minister of Police, that's the one that want to disarm the people and this vulnerable minorities in South Africa. Disarmament is looming with the latest law amendment. So that is also going to become huge in the near future. This whole push for disarmament. In a violent country like South Africa, that's actually a death knell. It's a
genocidal act.
It's a genocidal act, especially for the minorities, because
exactly
the police and the government cannot and will not protect the vulnerable minorities, especially the white minority who is targeted. And if you take away our right to defend ourselves, I mean, that's absurd. That has been since Genesis, since the beginning of humanity. You had the right to defend yourself when attacked. To take that away from people is actually to tell them in no uncertain terms that we actually want you to die.
Well, that's what the Nazis did just before the Holocaust, and that's what they did in Russia when the communists walked in. And guess what happened there?
With Lenin and Stalin's period in Russia, that's exactly what they did.
And then they killed 67 million people.
If you go through the world history, each and every time a government goes for disarmament of its citizenry, disarmament of the population, soon afterwards there follows a genocide.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just disgusting. I mean, Bekesele is a jerk. You know, really, he would be flat out organising a barbecue in a park, and to suggest that he can run the police service is a complete and utter joke. I don't know how better to
He
put
never
it.
was a policeman. He never went through the police training college.
He's an ANC cadre. He can do anything.
Yeah,
he could be
that's
the
how we
finance
landed
minister.
in Flatbank.
I mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine? Could you imagine Bekesele as the finance minister? You know, I mean, seriously, I mean, he could be, because he's an ANC cadre. That's how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, Scott, that he was the commissioner of police in
he got
2012.
fired.
People,
And he got fired
he
because he
was
was caught.
fired by
Yeah.
Zuma because of corruption.
Mhm.
Can you believe that he was too corrupt for Zuma? And then Ramaphosa came and he made him the minister.
Well, I can tell you why that happened, Elsabe, is because
I know.
Ramaphosa is sitting on a knife edge when it comes to the factionalism within the ANC, and Bekesele is one of his supporters, so he's got a job for life. Because if he fired Bekesele, that's the end of Ramaphosa's presidency. Yeah,
And he owes him for Lonmin.
yeah, exactly.
Oh, Lonman Mine, yeah.
Yeah,
For the Lonmin mine incident, he owes him.
yeah, because that was shocking how they shot all those people just in cold blood.
And it's Ramaphosa's mine.
Yeah, well, he was the director of that whole
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
company.
Yeah, Scott, that's why I don't pray for strength lately. I don't pray for strength because I would kill someone.
Yeah,
I pray rather for parole money
yeah. No,
or bail money.
Bail money.
I pray for bail money.
yeah. Now, Flippy, let's get back to you, buddy, because look, you're the man who's the focus of what's going on here. Tell us how this has affected your social life, your family life, and your quality of living. What the police have done to you, what the local community have done to you, what the judicial system has done to you.
Okay, just to start off with, I went to hospital 2 days after I've been arrested. I was late I had to appear in court. They didn't put me in any cell or so. So I attended the court. Up to this day, I don't know, I can't remember that. And the next day, I suppose, because I can't remember it, I suppose I was feeling very ill and went to the police station to get a J88. Now that is a form that a medical form that you need to fill in if you're assaulted by anyone and there would be a court case afterwards. So I went to the police and there, outside the police station, I got seizures. I had a seizure for about an hour, and I was found there by somebody that knew me from the time when I bought the flat, and they ordered the ambulance and I was taken to hospital. That's where it started. It started with a seizure, and I still get seizures, so I've got medicine. The psychiatrist that looks to my health, he gave me pills so that I don't get seizures. So every morning and every afternoon I drink one pill, not to get the seizure, because if I'm alone on the farm and I get the seizure, I might injure myself more, even die of this. Like falling in a pool or falling off the tractor or whatever you're busy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is how it affected me, is that you sit with this thing in your mind. I don't drive far. I don't drive further than Scottburgh. My wife has got to be with me, or I let her drive. So it's not that I can't drive. It's just too scared that I will get a seizure. I can sort of feel it coming, but I don't want to get a seizure sort of between Mooi River and Lady Smith or something like that. I mean, you've got to pull off the road and get the seizure there, you'll be dead. That's the one thing. And the other thing is, my friend doesn't want to come here, my family doesn't want to come here. They are scared. And they're not so scared of the community, they're scared of the police. They're scared that the police might visit me when they are here. My brother comes here, they always visited me, but now they stop at my sister in Harrismith and they turn back to the Cape where they stay. My sister from Canada, they come here, but they don't come and visit me here. They rather pay my air ticket and go and visit them in a place in the Eastern Cape where they've got a holiday home.
Right.
Things like that. It's not nice. My kids doesn't want to come here. My one son immigrated to England. They came down to Pietermaritzburg where his wife stays, and we had to go and say there goodbye because they're too scared to come here. That's how it goes. My friend, even Fanny, doesn't want to bring in a very, very good friend of mine. They don't want to bring their wives here. They will come here armed to the teeth, and we might have a braai here or whatever, and they will probably leave at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when it's still well away from, and things like that. That is how it is. It's difficult.
Yeah. Look, I you know, I had a farm in the Drakensberg, and I loved my little farm, and I only sold it because I was leaving to come to Australia. But, you know, it's a lifestyle. And, you know,
Yes.
your decision to use your pension money to actually have this dream retirement, and look what they've done to it. And just on that point, I think we should mention here, Elsabe, that the 20 police who attacked Flippie were not from Scottburgh, they're from Umkomaas, and they were the ones who actually organized this concerted attack on him during that assault. So it wasn't the Scottburgh police, it was actually the Umkomaas police, if I'm not mistaken.
They were under the command of Umkomaas, but most of them came from Limpopo and Klerksdorp in the northwest province.
What were they
And
doing?
Limpopo,
What were they doing there?
it's special forces. It's not police with blue uniforms. They have this.
An attack force.
Yeah, it's the black uniforms with the black boots and the assault weapons.
Riot gear.
Riot gear. You know, they normally go in a heist or a big robbery or that sort of thing. They're special police. They were situated in KwaZulu Natal. You must remember, last year this time we were in level 5 of COVID.
Yeah.
And you will remember that they arrested people without masks. They arrested people on the beach. They arrested people that were drinking liquor. You know, it was severe lockdown regulations. And they were stationed in Natal to assist the local police with COVID arrests. And they were misused by the Umkomaas police for this attack.
Wow.
But they played along. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, okay, tell us about the civil claim against the police for this brutal attack, Elsabe.
Whenever the police arrest you, where they're not allowed to arrest you, and you must remember the civil claim has nothing to do with the fact if Flippie is found guilty or not guilty. They shouldn't have attacked him, and the offences they charge him with is not Schedule 1 offences. The police can only arrest you on Schedule 1, Schedule 5, and Schedule 6 offences. A dog bite or a normal attack is not one of those offences. So they were not allowed to arrest him, even if he was guilty of what they charged him for. So it was an illegal arrest and detention and the assault. And now we also claim for the shock, the brain damage, all the medical expenses and all the legal expenses that was caused by that attack. Yeah.
There's a few million,
We haven't finalized the final amount yet because there is still outstanding reports on his health, but I think it will be a few million. So maybe he can afford to leave his farm after he receives that money and settle somewhere else, hopefully.
Yeah, well, I would hope it'd be at least 100 million rand, 100 million
No,
rand.
it's not that.
Because,
No,
well,
not in South Africa.
Well, that's what it should be. Now, look, it's interesting because Tokolosh says, please ask Flippy who the people who sold him the farm and profited from it are, as they are traitors.
They're mostly EFF supporters, and the police is pop crew. It's the left wing of the police. They call themselves pop crew,
Union, police union.
it's a labor union in the police, but they are also active EFF members, and they are supported by the EFF at court. You know, you can see where their political sentiments are, because the people at the court has the red berets and the red overalls on, so you know where they belong to.
You know what it makes me think of? You had the brown coats with the Nazis. You know, these EFF guys remind me of those brown coats who did exactly this sort of thing. It is so coincidental, but that's exactly the type of tactics that they used leading up to the Holocaust in Germany.
They're not original, they're copycats. You know, they learn everything from Russia and from history. They can't,
Cuba, it was also.
Yeah, they can't be original.
Okay, well, look,
The police. Sorry, Scott.
Go ahead, Marius. Yeah.
The South African police lately makes me think about the Cheka, the NKVD of Stalin.
Yeah.
They act like the Cheka or the NKVD.
I've got to just say, I've got to just say, in the defence of some of the police, that there are still some really good police out there. But the trouble is, their reputations are being totally lambasted. They're being destroyed by these sort of actions that are taken against people like Flippy. I mean, it is just absolutely unacceptable. And then you've got a court system that looks the other way and pretends it's not happening. And then you've got the media in South Africa that does exactly the same. There is something very, very wrong in this case with Flippy in particular.
They shoot the good policemen. If you remember that case last year of that Charles Kinnear, that was the policeman in the Western Province that was
killed. Murdered.
He was killed by colleagues. By colleagues. And the guy that proceeded with that investigation, he was fired this week from his job. They don't want the truth to come out. But you know, in Afrikaans we have a saying that die vis vrot van sy kop af, which means
the fish rots from its head.
Yeah. So if the head is wrong, the whole fish is rotting, and that's what's going on in South Africa.
Yeah, I totally get it. That's what I'm saying every single day of the week in my platform on Loving Life. It's just tragic what is happening in the country. I remember a South Africa where, you know, even during the apartheid times, the African people in the townships, they weren't subjected to necklacing and mob violence and stuff like, or mob justice. You know, the death rates were so low in comparison to what they are today, and this is impacting everybody in South Africa. But we are actually at this point in time focusing on how the corrupted judicial system is impacting on real people like Flippy, because people overseas need to know that what is happening to the minority white population in South Africa is absolutely disgusting, and it's happening under this ANC government who are completely racist, incompetent, corrupt, and worst of all, they're just a bunch of gangsters. That's all they are. Look, I'm going to start wrapping up this live stream. Elsabe, is there something you'd like to cover that perhaps we haven't covered?
Yeah, Flippie's famous now, and the coffin tea is famous. But you know, that's not the only cases we do. People call us like at least twice a week with similar complaints. Similar things happen to them. And I don't think that the people in South Africa realize how bad this has become. And I don't think they realize how easy you can end up in prison by doing nothing. It's just somebody that's going to complain about you, and the next day you are arrested. Without any reason. We are doing a matter now for the woman. She caught her worker stealing from her, and when she laid a complaint with the police, they locked her up until she withdrew the case against the worker.
What?
So, yeah.
Yes.
It's our newest one.
Oh.
But it so you can't breathe in South Africa, then you end up in jail, and people think, you know, Flippie is you know, he's looking for trouble there where he's staying. It's not so. It can happen to anybody tomorrow. And that's the message I want to get through to the people. You need protection. You must be aware of this. Get friends, know your neighbors. If you scream, your neighbors can come and help you. If you have a bad relationship with your neighbors, why would they come and help you? You know, people can't be nasty with each other anymore. We need each other, and we must support each other. And that's the message that Patriot for Minorities wants to bring over to the people. You need support, and you need us. I'm sorry to say it, but you will need us.
Now Charles Carstens has asked, how do we help Flippie? For example, if someone lives in Scottburgh and they've got a lot of time on their hands, is Flippie interested in people who might just, you know, perhaps just come out during the day and give them, you know, sort of like extra support, which might be a deterrent for these thugs who come onto his farm? Flippie?
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, you will even get coffee and biscuit.
There you go. All right, guys, if you want to meet a really famous guy, we're talking about Flippie and a lovely man, I contact Patriots for Minorities. Just send me an email, homestays@gmail.com, and I will make sure, with your phone number, your cell phone number, and I'll make sure that that information is relayed back to Elsabe, and she can put you in direct touch with Flippie. So you know, you can have a barbecue or you know, something really nice. Perhaps sit out in the back porch with a brandy and reminisce on the old days in South Africa. What do you reckon, Flippie?
Well, they welcome, any office will welcome, any support is welcome. But what I want to say, if you're wrapping up your thing, is I just want to thank Patriots for Minorities for the help that they've given me. Without them, I really would have been destitute. And I just want to say there's a farmer in Karkloof. He shot a guy in self-defense. It was put on video. I think his surname is Phillips. He's losing 3 farms because of this court case, because of lies that made against him, and I think because I don't think he's really the right legal expertise behind him, and that is what Patriots for Minorities really do, is they give you the right legal advice and then take it from there further on. Each case will depend exactly on its own. But some of these cases have gone haywire because the defense has left loopholes for the government to go and turn around in and not deburn the people and things like that and get them convicted and stuff like that. The other thing that I want to say, and that is something that really concerns me, is I really want to know what it is that the government wants. What do they desire when they vilify and demonize white people? If you think, why do they want to do that? And I think the answer is it is frightening. If you really think what it is, it sort of get like the genocide in Rwanda and those places. It just sets us up for something like that, sort of an excuse, and that is all I want to actually say here in my final. I just wonder why they do it, and there is something worse lying ahead of us than something nice.
Well, Flippy, I can assure you that the Loving Life channel, the reason I set it up all those years ago, and the reason I've been every day putting up videos about how wrong things are in South Africa, is because we are getting the message out there to the world. We're having to bypass the mainstream media because they're fake news, and I'm absolutely delighted that our videos on Loving Life have been viewed more than 25 million times around the world, which is a huge audience, and it's a huge enlightening. Now,
that's right.
Since I started doing this, there have been quite a few other YouTube channels that have popped up and basically followed the way I've been going all this time. And I'm really happy about that, because the more people exposing what's going on in South Africa, the better. So in a way, Loving Life has started a trend where you've now got YouTube channels and people on BitChute and etc. now starting to talk about the absolute breakdown of the society in South Africa and the complete lack of a moral compass by this ANC government. Now, okay, I'm going to just hand over to Elsabe to say anything in closing to the people who are watching or who might watch this later, and then the same with Marius, and then we'll just get Flippy to close up, just to say once again a thank you to Patriots for Minorities, because they do fantastic work, and without them, as Flippy says, he wouldn't have had a chance. Elsabe, over to you.
Yes, I want to make a date with you. In October, the parole period for the coffin case guys is over, and then they will be able to talk. So I'm going to set up a meeting with the coffin guys in October. Me Fantastic. And those two boys.
You got it.
They are like my children.
You got it. Look, Marlena, just contact Elsabe and write that into the diary and ink straight away.
Okay, and I think I'll put my phone number in the comment.
Oh, yeah.
You know, below your comment, I'll put my phone number there, and people can contact me. That if I'm not available, I'm in court tomorrow with the Radon case again, so they can just send me WhatsApps, and I will reply to the WhatsApps.
And if you put your phone number in the side chat, I'll put it underneath the video. In fact, if you want to give it to me now, I'll just...
Okay. It's 082...
082...
8548...
8548...
236.
Okay, I'll just repeat that to you. 082... 8548... 236.
Yeah. If there's people that want to, I know everybody's broke after COVID, but if there's people that have money lying around which they don't need, We really need it. we this coffin, this Redan matter is over 1,200 papers at this stage.
Wow.
And it's our third court appearance tomorrow. And those people in Redan, they really, really need our help. It's a sad story, and I don't want to speak about.
Oh, okay. You can't talk about it. Would just overview.
The previous time I talked to you about Redan.
Yeah.
The opposition.
It landed in the court papers.
Yeah, they sent the link to the judge to watch us. Yeah. So
Okay. All right. Well, at least we're getting their attention.
I see you already had to apologize to Neil de Beer. I don't want you to apologize to Barnabas Dube.
Did you like my apology?
I really did.
We loved that.
All right.
So let's just get it over with. There's a lot of stuff I can tell you.
Yeah.
All I want to say at this stage maybe is, when Andre de Ruyter was appointed as CEO of Eskom, I really thought, okay, now it's going to get fixed.
Yes, me too.
And I'm so disappointed. It's all I can say.
What's happening
But we'll
there?
talk about it later.
Yeah, okay. All right. Now, Marius, is there something you'd like to say in wrapping up this live stream?
Yeah, I just want to say that we at Patriots for Minorities do most of this work free, gratis, and for nothing. Because we are passionate about what we are doing and the reasons why we are doing it. We're doing it for the oppressed and trampled on the minorities. We do it for the minorities in South Africa. The white minority, the brown or colored minority, and Indian minority, and also black tribal minorities in South Africa.
Right.
And it's a passion for us. We have no other motivation because we don't make money from this. In fact, it's draining resources, and we do our legal work without charge because we have a passion for what we are doing, and that is driving us. The passion for our people, especially the minority peoples, and our drive to make things better for them, and me and Elsabe are also part of the white minority. So by helping minorities, we are also, in a way, indirectly helping ourselves because we are part of this community.
Yeah.
Part and parcel of the minority communities in South Africa.
Right. Okay. Thanks for that, Marius. Now, Flippy, I'm going to get you to just make a final little comment. If you'd like to just once again express your thanks to Patriots for Minorities and anything else you'd like to say, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Scott. I have to thank you as well. You are really carrying this message over the whole world. And I appeal to the people that listen is what's happening to us is real. And I am glad that there is somebody that fights for human rights, for minorities, because the Human Rights Commission in South Africa doesn't worry about us. I tell you, you can even notify them about your position. They don't even come back to you. And that is why I'm so grateful for Patriots for Minorities that, I just hope that a lot of people will contribute to that organization. There's no profit for them in it. as Marius has said, they do it for the love, for the care that they have. And at least they've seen the plight of some of us that are in trouble or were in trouble, and they are assisting us, and they are assisting us really in a professional way that you can't think. I've been member of other communities and other organizations, but there's not an organization like this one. I can tell you, with the little resources that they have, they do an enormous amount of work, and we should support them. It is, I think it's duty if you are part of a minority group.
Right.
That's all I want to say, Scott.
Okay, fantastic. And I just want to say, in wrapping up, guys, if anyone can help Flippie by going out to his farm, if you live in the Scottburgh area, I'll put Elsabe's phone number below this video in the description. Give her a call and she'll put you in touch with Flippie. And look, I'm sure it'd be great if, say, half a dozen people came in behind Flippie and offered him some moral support. That'd be fantastic. Alrighty, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, Elsabe, for joining us once again. I'm looking forward to the October live stream, which I'll get Marlena to confirm with you. Marius, thank you so much for joining us. And
yes, Scotty, I just want to say something quickly.
Yeah.
There's one thing I always wanted to say in your program, with reference to Star Trek. Beam me up, Scotty.
It's a clown.
Yeah. Oh, Marius.
Well, there you go. You said it. Wow. Star Trek. I wonder which one of the ships I'll be on. Yeah. Okay, and Flippie, thank you for joining us tonight. And look, we'll obviously follow closely what's happening and have you and obviously Elsabe and Marius back if there are any further developments that need to be exposed. We're very, very happy to do that. And Elsabe, just know that we are right behind your organization. We always have been. And yeah, we're delighted to give you publicity as and when you need it.
Thank you very much, Scott. We enjoy speaking to you. It's very nice to your interviews. We enjoy it as well. Thanks for the airtime you give us.
You're very welcome.
Yes, I agree. Definitely.
Okay, fantastic. All right, thanks to the moderators for looking after the side chat. I think it's been fairly quiet tonight. I don't think we had too many trolls in there. And thank you for everybody who's been watching tonight. I hope that, especially if you're overseas, what you've heard tonight gives you a bit of an eye-opener as to what is actually going on in South Africa. And of course, you won't hear about this through your mainstream media because it does not fit their fake narrative. I'm going to leave it at that. I'll leave the side chat open for a few minutes so people can say their goodbyes. And have a great evening. Bye for now.
Good night.
Good night.
Cheers.
Is het nacht?